Welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast, a place to discuss pain, passion, and pursuits.
Let's get it. I want to feel alive.
Breathe.
Make some moves.
Protect the throne. This is Sexy Freedom Media Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast. It's your host, Helen Edwards and
January Liddell. Aloha.
So today's podcast, we're actually going to talk about conquering your that upper limiting belief and manifesting your goals and dreams. And the only reason I chose this is because I've been really putting this into practice actually for quite a few years, but more intentionally in the last couple of weeks, I should say.
Okay, tell us more. I want to know.
Okay, well, all right. So, I'm reading the book, The Big Leap. All right. And it's not one of those books you can just fly through. It's something you have to take in, like 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, the max. Well, for me anyways, and I got to literally sit with it and think to myself, what am I doing in my life that is self-sabotaging my own manifestations? So, yeah. So, and then I listened to Abraham Hicks this morning, and I was telling Shrett, I actually listen to the same audio message all the time. I don't listen to like a bunch of books. I don't listen to a bunch of messages. I have one in particular I listen to all the time. And it's the one that I need to help get my mindset right for attracting prosperity and abundance.
I like that you only listen to one, because there are so many voices out there that it's hard. You can get so confused and so overwhelmed with so many quotes and things that people are saying. So good for you for just choosing one and going with that. So I haven't read the book, The Big Leap, but I did see a YouTube video, and it was talking about the space of genius and how that is the goal to be in, is the space of genius. And I think what you're doing, at least from yesterday when we were talking, you were talking about how you found out about your book, and your book was, supposed to be in oh gosh, I think I'm going to say it wrong, but it's supposed to be in this publishing company, and you thought it wasn't. And that was the only way that you can get your book into Barnes and Nobles, only to find out yesterday that actually it is. And now you just have to fix the formatting. And so one of the things you said yesterday was procrastination. I totally know about that procrastination, and I feel that the procrastination isn't necessarily that you're lazy, or that. I think procrastination is the guise behind not.
You cut out. I don't even know what you said for the longest time.
Oh no! Can you hear me?
Yes,
you know what?
I can hear you now. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Okay, there you are, January. I can hear you.
I can hear you.
We
Woo!
actually took a little short blippy break, but we're back.
Okay, so we were talking about conquering our upper limiting beliefs.
Yes, and you were kind of segueing into the story I had told you about yesterday about my whole book situation that happened.
Yes. So, well, we were talking about procrastination and how procrastination can be a guise, right? It's not necessarily procrastination, but it's maybe you didn't feel worthy enough, or maybe you didn't feel like you can move past this, barrier or whatnot. And yesterday was sheer proof that, all you had to do was just that one thing. It was just that one leap, and you did it. You took it yesterday, and I feel like doors open a lot more for you yesterday. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, one of the things I've been working on with manifestation is keeping my vibration really high and matching the vibe and the vibration in what it is that I want to happen in my life, because that is the law of attraction, is when you like attracts like. Therefore, I had to kind of take this little ass whooping that life gave me about procrastinating. And usually it would like put me in a low and I try to dig my way out. But instead, I decided not to go into a low mindset, but instead view it as, okay, the universe is actually giving me exactly what I want, but the universe is basically saying, hey, that one thing you swept under the rug, that one thing that you've been procrastinating to do, well, guess what? You have to get that done in order for you to get to that next level. So here it is again. And it just was like, oh my gosh, okay, there is no running, there is no procrastinating, and there is no getting in my feelings like I did before. And you're right, one of the feelings the subconscious feeling I felt before was I am unworthy, or it's too hard, or I just can't do it. And this time I was like, all right, bitch, I'm taking you by the balls and we're going to handle this. And I even was like, okay, I feel it in my body. I feel it in my body. I feel that old mindset coming back. I feel that old programming, like where I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll do it in like 2 hours. And what I did to work on that was, it's freezing outside. It was snowing. And I put myself outside because one of the things Tony Robbins talks about is to break cycles is to take yourself into to take yourself into a different environment immediately. So that's what I did. I put myself outside and I started dancing in the cold, and I got my energy levels up. I got my vibes high. And then I told myself, when you go back inside, I don't care what you have to do, but you are going to resolve this today, not tomorrow, not next week, not later on tonight, but today, like right now. We're going to go in there and we're going to post it up. We're going to ask for help. We're going to put it out there. We're going to go fishing. Somebody's going to bite. Somebody's going to be the hero to your story right now. And they're going to help you get this fixed. And that's what actually happened.
You went fishing and you got a big fish. And what I love about what you did yesterday was change your vibe, and just get out of your way, because we constantly get in our way. That whole procrastination isn't, like I said earlier, it's not a procrastination to just procrastinate and be lazy, but there's something deeper behind the procrastination. And what you did was you shifted your thought process, and you said, you know what? I am not going to react or respond in the same way that I did before. Instead, I'm going to do what Tony Robbins said, and I'm going to change. I'm going to change the environment. I'm going to lift myself up, because we can do that. That's the power of being human, is that we have the power of choice. The challenge, though, is when we get stuck. And we constantly do. We have done that. I have done that. Constantly get stuck in that same mind frame. And the whole mind frame is woe is me. Woe is me. And it is too hard. It's too hard. It's that uphill battle, which is what we're talking about today, conquering that upper limiting belief of that we can't get past a certain ceiling. And what Helen did yesterday was she broke through. She broke through that, and she said, fuck that. I'm going to do something else. And I'm going to prove to myself, because at the end of the day, our only competition is ourself. Nobody else matters but ourselves. So Helen has done all this work to get to where she's at. I have done all the work to get to where I am. And it's a continuous work. It's not like, okay, I did it yesterday, I'm done. Nah, this is every single day is a battle with your mind. And it's a matter of, who do you want to be at that very moment?
Yes, sis, yes. So one of the things that Abraham Hicks talks about in this one little audio thing I listened to, and it actually coincides with what I'm reading right now, same thing that they're talking about in the Big Leap, is you making an argument for your upper limiting beliefs. And those arguments come in the form of, I can't, I don't have, just, it's hard. This is why I can't do it. And it's interesting because when you listen to yourself say these words, you are literally arguing for, on behalf of your limiting beliefs. But yet you're saying at the same time, I want to attract this in my life. This is what I want in my life. I want more money. I want a better relationship. I want this, that. Then you switch sides unknowingly, unconsciously, and start arguing alongside your limiting beliefs. It's so weird. Like, and I started noticing that with myself. I was like, oh my Lord, there it is. There it is. There is the block. There is the reason why all these things haven't been able to come into my life, because I've been my own block to all of this manifesting.
Yes, we are our worst critics for sure. We are our, like, and I think something you posted and I said, yes, we can be a cheerleader to ourselves, or we can, and I did say drill sergeant, because at some point we do have to be a drill sergeant to ourselves. Okay. But I feel like we can also be like a bully. I think that's what I was trying to say. We can bully ourselves. And what I mean is, we can tell ourselves like, you're not good enough. You know, that negative self-talk. You're not good enough. You're not worthy. You know, this is it. You can't amount to anything else. Or, you know, this is as far as you can go. And then we put ourselves in the comfort zone, and that's it, where we're safe. And I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be in a safe zone. I want to challenge myself where I can go above and beyond that safe zone. In terms of my business, my first goal was, I want to make my first 5,000, right? Then I want to make my 10,000. Then I want to make my 20,000, right? My next goal is making that 50,000, right? 50,000 a month. So that is my next, it's definitely a hard goal, but it's a challenge and I'm up for it. But I can tell, Helen, I'm in that zone where I'm like, can I do this? Can I do this? And I can. I just have to get out of my way.
Yeah, it's interesting how you ask yourself, can I do this? Right. And when I was on the Zoom yesterday with Lisa, who's the publisher marketer, as she was telling me different things I could have done or should do, I kept telling myself out loud, because, I'm through Zoom, but I was so hyped and I was like, I could do this. I can do this. And she's laughing and she says, yes, you can. And it's interesting how when somebody has already done it and then they look back at you and they're like, you can do it. And they see you like, I can do it. They know it's possible because they've already done it. Right?
Yeah.
Just like,
it goes back to that there's the story, a kid's story. Is it Thomas the Engine? I can do this. I can do this. And he just believed in himself. He kept telling himself that same phrase. And that's the phrase that we have to, it's like our mantra. That's something that we have to say all the time. One of the words in my family that we're not able, I actually do not want us to use is I can't. There is no I can't. It's either you do or you don't do, but it's never I can't, because it's always I can. I can. Anything is possible as long as we believe in ourselves. And I think that's the one thing that is a struggle for some people, or most people maybe, is the belief in themselves. So do you know that thing, right? Believe in yourself. It's such a cheesy thing to see, but it's so true, because I think a lot of us don't necessarily believe in our skills, in our skill sets. And that is something that we have to also say, in addition to I can, it's I believe. And when you believe, then that changes your energy as well.
yes.
Right? Because it changes yours.
Yeah, it changes your frequency, it changes your vibration, it changes everything. Like, it's a ripple effect into your life. But one thing's really interesting too, because there is this mindset of just doing the work on the mindset, like saying, I want this, and I'm going to listen to this, and I'm going to read this book, and everything's mindset, which is great. That's the goal, is to retrain and reprogram your mindset, those false beliefs or those programs that was put in our minds when we were kids, right? But the other half of that is action, 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 action. And this is why the procrastinating part really whooped me in my ass, because it showed me that, hey, you can think all these things you want. You could read all these things you want, but you got to do the work. And the universe is like, girl, hi, you want this, don't you? Like, how bad do you want it? You have to do the work. You need to put the book down. You need to put your headphones down. You need to stop dancing or after you're dancing and get your ass to work. And that's kind of what I remember thinking, like, okay, not only are you asking the universe for all these things, but you have to do the work to get it. It's so simple, yet so challenging, but it's also invigorating. It invigorated me. And that's something that I was telling, Shred, I talked to her a lot. I was saying to her this morning, like, the momentum is what keeps the fire going. Just like the train analogy, the old trains, you got to just keep putting that coal in, so that way it keeps the fire burning, keeps the train running. And that's kind of how I view myself. I don't want to stop. I want to keep going, and I want to see how far I can get.
Momentum. Yes, momentum is key. And I think what you said about just knowledge. So it's funny because Danny actually had that in the training this past Thursday, and he was talking about how you can put your nose in the books all this time and just continue to learn and say, I don't know everything about this one thing or whatever. But without action and actually being in the field, then you're not gonna go anywhere, because knowledge is just knowledge. You got to add that action part to it. I was talking to somebody about Taylor Swift, and we were talking about where she started. And I don't know much about Taylor Swift or her story. I'm actually just learning about it. But what I was told was, when she was younger, her mom would drive her to a different town, miles, hundreds of miles away, just so she can do these auditions. And, that's what for me, where I'm at this very moment. When I wake up at 3 a.m., well, actually I have to wake up a lot earlier because I have to get dressed and get ready. So that's like 2 a.m. in the morning to get, to my meetings, 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever. That's all like sacrifice. That's all. One is sacrifice, two, it's action, three, it's showing up, right? So all these little things, whether it amounts to anything, I don't know, but it's all these little things that will add up. And we talked about compound interest. And that's how I feel that as far as my growth is I am putting in the work. It's not just the knowledge that I'm reading and absorbing, because there's so much, right? Just within our industry and just personal development in it of itself. But actually being there. The other thing is sacrificing my time with my friends. There are times that my friends will ask me to hang out and like, I need help. And I'm like, I cannot, because I have to work. Right. And so that's just a part of the growth mindset, number one, and also success. Right. And you and I talked about success a lot, and success isn't linear. It's not like, okay, it's like all over the place and then down, right? It goes up and down, up and down. And that's just the nature of being an entrepreneur, is that it's not going to be it's not going to be an easy climb. It's going to be you against yourself, you against, the world, making sure that you are focused on the goal, and I think for conquering our upper limiting beliefs, a lot of the times we get distracted. We get distracted because of whatever the words that are speaking in our ears, those whispers, right? Negative talk, and other things that are going on, because there's a laundry list of things that we all have to do. And so at the end of the day, it's like, well, what is it that you want? What's your driving force, and why is it that you want to be at this level? I think that's just a reflection that we all have to ask ourselves. And I'm going to say one more thing. My daughter made this for me. My daughter made this for me.
She actually, I did see that on Facebook.
It's so adorable. So she set up my laptop, she set up, my chair, everything was ready. And so last night she hid this note. She like put her hands on it, she hid it, and she said, "Don't look." I'm like, okay. And I had no idea what it was until this morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. I saw that she made this for me, and it says, for mommy. Oh, sorry, for mommy. Okay. And I'm just gonna read real quick. "Hi, Mom. I miss you. I hope you have a good meeting. MEIDING. Sorry, I can't spell it. And I love you. Please give me a kiss. Love, Nina." This changed a lot of my energy in the morning, because in the morning I'm tired. In the morning, all I want to do is sleep. I want to sleep. And, this was the point where it's like, this is why I do what I do. It's for her.
Wow, what a good reminder. Nina, if you're listening right now, you're amazing. Your mom's amazing. Wow, that's incredible. And you know what? You're raising such a thoughtful girl. You're raising a thoughtful individual. So that's amazing.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be her mom. And birthday shout out. She turns 8. Can't believe she's going to be 8 this weekend. So happy birthday.
Wow. So, that's so cool, because it's the littlest things sometimes that will make us and remind us of why we're doing what we're doing. And that's great. In fact, okay, just on that note, right? The reason why I'm delving back into my book again, and the reason why I'm inspired again, is because I went on this 3-week vacation. And during that time I had a solo retreat, but I also spent time with my sister, Mitzi, who's also writing a book right now. She's writing her first book, and her energy poured into me. Like all of a sudden I started remembering what it was like to first write my book. Oh my God, the excitement of the dream. Oh my God, the just all the visions I had for it, and remembering what it was like to go to the coffee shops every day and write. And it just, that excitement came back to me. The memories came back to me. And I thought to myself, okay, if she can do this and she's writing every day, I need to get on it with my second book, with my sequel. Rob's waiting for it. Everybody's waiting for it. I'm constantly getting questions about it. And then it just reminded me, like, well, why haven't I gotten to the goals that I originally wanted for Nothing Sexier Than Freedom, the first one? And I took a long, hard look at myself while I was on my solo retreat. And I realized, especially through this book, I have a lot of upper limiting beliefs. I didn't get there because I didn't see myself there deeper than the surface level. And there's a lot of things that were hard for me that I didn't understand. And I got in my own way. I self-sabotaged myself, and I became this little sleeping giant. And when I came back, like I said before, I came back with vengeance. Like, I am worth it. I know I'm worth it. It is time to wake up. It is time to fuel my fire. And one of those examples today was, it was today. So yesterday, an ad came through on my TikTok, and it was for authors. And it was a book workshop on how to have the momentum to write your book, and also whether you should go with self-publishing or traditional publishing, but all of these tools and techniques to help you grow once you become an author. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to check it out. And I did. And I sat on it again, procrastinated, but I felt that pull inside myself, like, you should do this. You should do this. And it starts in 1 hour. It starts in 1 hour. Are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? And you know what? I just was like, that awareness bubble came on, like, oh my God, there's my upper limiting belief. Me procrastinating, being soft, thinking small, like, why do I need this? Why should I do this? I could probably find these videos on YouTube, when the larger part of me in there is saying, hey, let's do this. Let's jump on it. And I literally was like, there it is. There's the voices. Oh my gosh, I'm doing this. So I jumped on and I purchased it, and I took my first workshop this morning, and it was so awesome. Not only that, January, I signed up for another one right after. You know why? Because I want to keep the momentum going. And this has just taught me so much. Conquering your upper limiting beliefs is really about doing what you learn and putting into action, but being so aware of those limiting beliefs when they do come up.
Yeah, so congratulations for choosing to just jump right in, even though you're like, I can just get this for free on YouTube. You're like, no, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. And then for continuing on for the next class, which is good because, and we talked about this, we talked about building momentum, and that is, it's important to have the momentum. So congratulations, good job. And let me ask you, Helen, because I'm intrigued. What is your big why? Like why do you want to do number 2? Nothing sexier than freedom number 2. What is your reason?
Well, I definitely feel like it's unfinished. It's unfinished. The story has a first part, a first half of my life, and now I'm in the second half of my life. And I feel like it needs to be finished because the big why, I've got a few of them, but I would say the ultimate one is this big vision that has become a seed in me that is growing. And it's the idea or vision that I see it turning into a movie. And the second why, and it used to be my son, to be honest. My first book when I wrote it was for my son, but he's grown now. So he's got his own things to do. But now the second big why, I guess the one that's kind of pushing the big one up, is when my mom was laying on her deathbed, her dream was to have an earthship house. So she was constantly packing tires on her property all the time. I mean, since I was a kid. Then she lost her first property. Then she got a second property. And then she was constantly trying to pack tires to build her own earthship house. And when she was laying on, I don't want to even call it her deathbed, her transitional bed, I remember her looking at me and she says, it was all for nothing. It was all for nothing. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, I tried to build the dream home. I tried, and I wasted all those years for what? For nothing. It's not even built, and I'm just going to die. And it's just sitting there. And I felt this like gulp in my throat, and my body tensed up, and I wanted to just cry, but I had to show her strength that moment. But it just hurt me so bad that she felt that way. And I remember telling her it wasn't all for nothing, because that tenacity, that continuous effort showed me not to give up. You planted something in me not to give up. So that second why is that visual of my mom saying it was all for nothing. And I don't want to be on my deathbed and say it was all for nothing. I want to finish the second project, the part that she didn't get to finish. So I feel like a part of her lives in me where I'm going to finish that second part, that full project. I'm going to finish it. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That warmed my heart because I feel like she passed on the torch to you, and it's your turn, to complete that. When you say earthship house, earthship home, because you said packing tires, I'm like, what is that? Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So, okay. So earthship, earth, and then ship. It's one word. You can look it up. You can Google it. My mom, I think I was 12 years old when I first heard about it. And then she took us out of the city and moved us on to this 40-acre piece of land. And that's the journey where we started to build our first earthship home. Now, what earthship is, it's just exactly what it sounds like. Earth, everything is recyclable. So it's a house made out of tires to help insulate the home and keep it more concrete. It's made out of, you put cans in it, dirt, mud, it's like an adobe home. And then you can put rafters on the top, like big, huge pieces of wood, tree trunk wood or whatever, to build the ceilings. And everything in it or made with an earthship house, it's supposed to be recyclable. So cans, tires, newspapers for insulation. And it's also kind of saving the earth because you're using things that kind of can destroy the earth, and you're using it to create a home. If you look it up and you Google it, you will see they are fascinating when they are completed. They're self-sustainable, and there's people that sell their earth ships, their homes, up in the millions. That's how amazing they are. But my mom had 5 kids, so she had us working out there after school packing tires. Okay, so I firsthand know what it's like to build an earthship house.
Wow, that is the first time ever that I've ever heard of an earthship house. I think that's amazing because her whole goal was to live sustainably and to utilize what's already, being it would be in a trash, right? Basically, but she's basically recycling it and using it for a home. I think that's amazing. I don't know if you know about, and I think we talked about this before, the garbage patches. And that breaks my heart because the garbage patches are 2 sides of Texas. And Texas is huge. So we have this massive landform of trash that's sitting in the Pacific Ocean that's destroying not only, the sea life that's there in the ocean, but it's also just it's creating this toxic gas in the air that's also killing our environment, our air, quality of air. So I think it's fascinating that your mom wanted to do an earthship house. So Helen, is that something that you are going to finish then? Is that something that you are going to complete for your mom?
To be honest, I never had the desire to have an earthship home. Never. But me and my sisters have come together and we talked about it, and we thought to ourselves, if it's in the future for us to create, get a piece of property and create our own earthship home for all of us to grow old together in, then that's what we'd probably do if it came to that. Like if our spouses kind of died off and we just found ourselves as old women, we would probably do that. So there's a possibility, but as far as my future goes in the next 5 years, I don't foresee it unless I became a multimillionaire in the next 5 years. Then I would definitely buy a piece of land and put that earthship home up.
I love it. I love it. I love that. I love how close that you and your sisters are, and that you said, if the husbands passed away, then we would all get together and have the earthship home. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
And I was thinking about this too, because my sister Kathy, she's a big go-getter, huge achievements. I mean, she's a freaking pilot. Okay, she flies planes for a living. All right, and everything she's ever wanted, she's just gone for. And when it comes to manifestation, I'm going to tell you right now, she's not into it. She doesn't believe it. She's not like woo-woo like I am. But her actions are what take her to where she needs to go. Her mindset is really strong. And like you, she talked about, I had her on the podcast actually a couple of years ago, and she does talk about how the way she got to where she wanted to go was sacrificing a social life, sacrificing things that she wanted to do so that way she could get to the places she wanted to be at. And now she's there, and she's still reaching for the stars. She's still reaching for the next level up. Now she has gotten a lot more open to the idea of positivity and attracting good things in her life, because yes, she attracted a lot of achievements, but it also came with a lot of heartache. So, she's at that place where she's starting to open up about it. But I think what's really fascinating is manifesting is there for everybody, whether you subconsciously do it or consciously do it or unconsciously do it. Manifestation is working whether or not you want it. But the trick is to have some type of control and some type of part of your operation in the development of what you're manifesting. Do you feel like that?
Ooh, okay. So let's talk about that. When you say control, what do you mean by control in manifesting? Are you suggesting that maybe it might be too overboard, or what exactly you're saying?
I'm meaning like, okay, so there's person A who's unconsciously manifesting things in their life. So bad things, good things, all crazy kinds of things are happening. They feel like they have no control of their journey. They're sitting in the back seat, not even in the passenger seat, not even in the driver's seat. Okay. And then there's person B who has some type of control. They're sitting in the passenger seat, not the driver's seat, but in the passenger seat, where they're trying to give the directions on where they want to go to the driver. But the driver ultimately has the full control, right? Okay. Then there's person C who is sitting in the driver's seat, who's saying, I'm going here. I don't care what I need to do to get there, but that's the route I'm taking. And, we all three of them deal with their consequences, but, or achievements. So it's better to live in awareness and to have some type of conscious choice and be the driver in the driver's seat. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. It does. I don't want to be the backseat driver. I want to be the driver.
I want to be the driver. I really believe I'm the driver right now, but this is an example. When I say I was a sleepy giant, I was in the passenger seat. Now I'm sitting in the driver's seat. Because not only am I making choices and taking action and keeping my momentum going, I'm having these aha moments where I'm aware in the moment that I'm seeing where I'm self-sabotaging myself, or the possibility of that self-sabotage happening if I don't choose to push past that upper limiting belief.
And I think that's a battle we're going to face a lot. It's not just like today or tomorrow, but it's
It's always
Yeah.
none of us are perfect. Like, I am not perfect. Trust me, I will probably fall prey at some time. And then that's where you just, like Aaliyah says, dust it off and try again.
Right?
Dust
Yeah,
it off
exactly.
again.
And it's reflection, right? It's that constant reflection. And I think for me, I said that I want to be in the driver's seat. I really like targets. Like, I love shooting guns. I love my bow and my arrow. I love so my new thing is golfing. And I never would have thought that I would love golfing, but there's so many intricacies to golfing to get to the goal. And to me, that's such a metaphor for what we're talking about, because what we're talking about is conquering our upper limiting beliefs. And there's several layers to that. We talked about procrastination. We talked about, the different things that go through our head. So in golf, there's the positioning of your grip, right? So you got to be mindful of that. You got to be mindful of your ear focusing on the ball. You got to be focused on where you're turning your hand and making sure this hand is straight. And then it gotta be up at a certain angle, and you gotta look at the past the ball. So one thing I noticed was that when I was looking at the ball, I would hit the ground. I would like whack it and I'd hit the ground. But if I focused past that ball, then oh man, that was a nice straightaway shot. And so what that taught me is that in life, our goal, sometimes we get misconstrued with our goal, right? And we think this is where we want to be. But God, why I say God? Okay, so God knows better, right? God is going to say, you know what? You're destined for something else. So we may think like, yes, this is it. But in actuality, it's like, oh my gosh, I am destined for greatness. I'm destined for something else. Like, I have this other purpose. And the Big Leap talks about being in the space of genius. And I love that, because I feel like what we're doing at Extreme One Financial is really, for me, it's a space of genius. And the reason why I say that is because there are so many different layers that we have to do on top of our personal development, on top of learning about the different products, on top of learning about the different skills, on top, there's like all these different things, right? And at the end of it, it's like, okay, why? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And that why, will propel us to get out of our way and to propel us to think, okay, look, yes, somebody is asking me out, but I really cannot, because I'm focused on what it is that I have to do. Like Kathy, I can resonate so much with Kathy, because Kathy is, she's a go-getter. I'm a go-getter. You're a go-getter. I feel like all of your sisters are a bunch of go-getters and just wild childs, and women who who see more for themselves. And that's what I see Kathy. Like she reached a goal, she wants to reach the next goal. And that's definitely me. And it's definitely a lot of sacrificing, and what I've learned through all of that, golfing and whatever, is that I can do it. I can reach it, as long as we say it to ourselves constantly and deflect all of the other things that come our way.
Oh yeah, you said it perfectly. By the way, I did see your golf pictures, and I don't know if if we've ever even talked about it. I used to play golf in Scottsdale. I love golf, but Rob does not like golf. So I stopped golfing a couple of years ago, but I used to golf all the time with my friends. It is pretty fun.
No idea. Oh my gosh. See, that's amazing. Like, you and I have so much in common. It's crazy. That's awesome. I would golf with you if you were here, or if I was there. I'd go golfing with you.
Definitely on the list when I get there, when I visit. No, I love what you said about the go-getting and everything. And, to all of our listeners out there, it's hard part. I really want to encourage you that stems from fear. And let's just say it is hard. Let's just say it's a factual hard thing to do. Okay. And go for it. Feel the fear and go for it anyways. And when I say go for it, doesn't mean like go cray cray. Like, take those little baby steps forward, because eventually you will surpass that level and you'll get to your next one. And then you're going to look back and go, why didn't I do this sooner? Oh my gosh, I could have did this like a long time ago. But the point is, just feel the fear and make moves anyways. And you are not alone. Like, me and January are sharing stories consistently on this podcast. In fact, just yesterday mine, just yesterday hers, we have them daily, like she was saying. And January, that analogy of the golf ball and just kind of looking past it is absolutely perfect, because that is literally what we need to do sometimes, is stop looking at what's in front of us. I know that some people say, look at what's in front of you. I get that. That's being in the present. We're talking about your goals though, right now, like getting manifesting what you want. Look at the bigger vision and allow your why to propel you forward to hit that ball, to attract what you want.
So I'm going to tell you, the other day, not yesterday, the day before, I got 3 bad news in that one day. One, a client was denied coverage due to health. We're still working on that. Number 2, I sent a form, an electronic transfer form. Anyway, the funds were supposed to be transferred on Monday or Tuesday, because I was told that they received the forms. It wasn't. And then number 3, in our line, we always deal with chargebacks. There are certain things that we just cannot, we cannot go beyond that. And so that was 3 debilitating news that I got. And I'm going to tell you, at that moment, just in that moment, I really wanted to cry. I wanted to cry, and I wanted to just say, I just wanted to go, I'm done. Right? I'm done. And I stopped myself. I stopped myself because when we reach a point where there are obstacles upon obstacles upon obstacles in our way, that what that means to me is that there is greatness beyond that. There is something that's more meaningful for me that's beyond all these things that I see. The golf ball, right? When we're looking at that golf ball, there is that obstacle, that those bad news is a sign that I'm in the right direction. But it's stopping me. It's stopping me from doing it. It's a test. It's a test of my fortitude. It's a test of, who are you, January? Who are you? Like, are you going to take this? Are you going to wallow and sit in the corner and go on a timeout and just cry it out? Okay, maybe for a moment. Or are you going to go beyond that and be like, fuck you, and let's just go, because I have things to do. I have more things to accomplish other than these three things. So that is where I'm at this very moment. Those were three bad news. I took it. I'm like, all right, give it to me, give it to me. Breathe it in and then let it go and breathe it out. I'm like, okay, moving on next. Okay, so that's kind of my mind frame at this moment.
I got to commend you, because news like that, yeah, would definitely get somebody down. But you have such a strong mindset, and you knew how to basically refocus yourself, which is a type of awareness. Again, going back to awareness. Girl, you're sitting in the driver's seat. Yes.
Yes, and I want all our listeners to be in the driver's seat. You actually have the power to be in the driver's seat. And I think a lot of the times we give our power away because we think that we cannot handle it, or we think that somebody is better than me, or whatever the thoughts that come your way. Helen and I did a podcast a week ago about why not me? And that's something that you may be thinking about at this very moment. I'm not good enough. Why me? It's just little me. No, you're not just little me. You are made for greatness. You were made for something important. And we only have a short time on this planet, on this earth, to fulfill our purpose. And it might not just be that one purpose. You may have multiple purposes. But if we continue to think that we're not worthy, or think that we're not good enough, or that somebody else can do it, no, my dear, no, you can do it. You have something inside of you that somebody needs. And so when you are thinking to yourself, I'm not worthy, I cannot do this, I'll just let somebody else do it, then you are doing yourself and your soul a disservice. You are not giving yourself the freedom to be you. And our souls are meant to be out of this body. These are just shells. Everything about us is just a shell. Our soul can't even fathom the depths of this shell. Like, it's actually bigger. Our souls are bigger, and we're not able to let it out because we're thinking about all these negative things. And I encourage you all to feed yourself positive words of affirmations. Tell yourselves, I can, I believe in myself. Look in the mirror. I used to think that was so hokey, but it really does wonders when you look at yourself and you tell yourself, I can do this. Or focus. A lot of times I have to tell myself to focus because there's so much distraction. So I encourage you to please say positive words to yourself. Speak life to you, because you are worth it.
Yes, speak life into you. I love that, January. Oh my gosh. Just like kind of tail off that, I'm writing in a worksheet right now. It was asking, what kind of people do you help? Who do you help? Who are your top 5 people or audience that you help? And I started thinking about that based on the book I wrote, Nothing Sexier Than Freedom, and also what we do as financial strategists and tax retirement specialists. And I thought, well, who is our audience? And if you're listening right now, just know that I can share what I believe is our audience. And it's definitely the wild women out there, women and men who want to make their money work for them so they can obtain financial freedom. And women who feel stuck and want a life of courageousness and to come alive again in their life if they feel like they are stuck in jobs or relationships. You know, what do you think, January? Who do you think is our audience?
I think we have an audience of beautiful, amazing women that, one, they may already know they're beautiful and amazing. And two, they're working at it, and they're working at that belief system and being beautiful and amazing. I think we may have some men listeners out there, because I know there are some men that do listen to our podcast. So thank you, men, if you are listening to this. We appreciate you. This is just another way to know your friends, your girlfriends, your wife, your, partners. So I appreciate that you're listening to this. I think our audience is searching for answers, just like we are. We're all searching for answers. It's not just, you who are the listeners, but it's me, myself, January and Helen. We're all looking for answers, and we're all trying to navigate through this journey of life and the journey of being an entrepreneur and working, and I think we do have entrepreneurs here that listen, self-employed, folks. And I think that, I'm very thankful for those of you that are continuing to listen and to continue to support us. We appreciate you, and we would love to hear from you, because at the end of the day, it's just Helen and I, but this podcast was made for you, the listeners, so that we can add value to you. But we'd also like to hear what kind of value that you like from us, and how you can bring us value, because we all learn from each other. We just so happen to have this amazing platform.
Yes, yes.
Helen,
Well,
go ahead.
I do want to add that this has been such an amazing platform to add value, but also inspiration and empowerment. Because I know I'm a huge listener of podcasts, and I like to listen to podcasts who feed my mind positivity, empowerment, inspiration. And I love to hear it from other women, because I just feel like they speak my language more efficiently. And one of the things I am always listening to is empowerment. How can I be more empowered for myself, for the people around me, the people I love, dealing with other people in life, dealing with strangers, dealing with entrepreneurship, but also jobs, dealing with day-to-day life that happens to you, like you were talking about, January, earlier, the 3 things that happen to you, how to deal with my emotions, and also how to make more money in life. Because we're, as manifestors who are sitting in the driver's seat, the number one thing that you hear people say is they want more abundance in their life. Abundance. And when you hear abundance, more than likely people are talking about prosperity. They're talking about prosperity because they know what it feels like, just even a bit, to have a little bit of money in their pocket to get that awesome lunch or breakfast or cup of coffee that they so desired that day. And if you amplify that amount, there's so much more you can do. There's so much more that you can give also. And there's so much more you can invest. And that's something that me and January, we help with.
Absolutely. We're helping ourselves, and we'll helping you. It's such a win-win scenario. So, Helen, I think we're going to call it our time. Where can we find you?
Yes, actually, hold on. Should have been more prepared. Here we go. You can find me, Helen Edwards, my book, Nothing Sexier Than Freedom. This is the first one, because the second one's coming out, but this is the first one. You can find it on Amazon and Audible, and it's available on Kindle as well. So You can also find me on Hell of a Journey on Instagram, Hell of a Journey 1, TikTok. All of our links are in the show notes. And we also have a online Zoom presentation, or I should say a financial session coming up if you want to learn how to grow your money from right where you're at. And that's coming up November 8th. So we'll also place that link in the show notes.
Awesome. And Helen will be going live. So if you just so happen to be on her social media, whether it be Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, please be aware that she may ask you to come on, and she may invite you and talk story with you. So, and I love it. She'll randomly like message me like, hey, you want to go on? I'm like, yep. Okay, let's go. All right. You can find me JanuaryLiddell.com. You can find me VIP Finance Builders, both on Instagram and Facebook. And then you can find me on LinkedIn, January Liddell. Looking forward to another session with you, Helen, next week. Till then, have a great and beautiful day, everyone. Aloha.
Ahia.
Want to hear more?
Visit us at SexyFreedomMedia.com.